Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and everybody has one question and one question only at this point. How is it even possible for one human being to injure their hands this many times? Okay, actually, only the people on a Discord server are probably wondering that at this point. And no, I'm not going to post a picture because I don't want this to get demonetized. But a lot of you are also wondering, why does Bolas want the Immortal Sun? Well, something came to mind, and I think this is maybe a coincidence, but maybe more than a coincidence. I'm not saying yes, absolutely confirmed. I'm just throwing this out there as a possibility, and it's a very interesting possibility, so I thought I'd share it with everybody. So in Chapter 3, which is the most recent chapter from the Rivals of Ixalan storyline, we've got this little section here, and the most important parts are, I gave up my spark to help create the Immortal Sun, of course Azor is saying that, and then he eventually says, his friend who was going to help him with the plan, he was supposed to help me get back my spark after our plan worked, which it did not. So Azor can't leave because he's effectively no longer a planeswalker, and also because the Immortal Sun is keeping anybody, including himself, from planeswalking out. The whole theory was that this was going to be, like, the whole plane was going to be a prison for Bolas. Now check out this quote from the very final chapter of Hour of Devastation, which was the final section of the Amonkhet storyline. Now this is, of course, Bolas we're referring to. It says, not for the first time he wondered if the heroes would be suitable for what he required. No matter, there were others if need be. So it sounds like he actually needs planeswalkers. Like, you know, what sets planeswalkers apart from anybody else? They can planeswalk. But they can planeswalk because of the awoken spark. So the spark is the planeswalker, and I'm not exactly like the certified professor of sparkology. That would be Saibon from the Aether Hub. I'm actually pretty sure I've been pronouncing his name wrong this entire time, but it's too late to go back. It might even be some weird Irish name. It's like Shaban. I don't know. It's also not An, it's En anyway. So it sounds to me like he needed the sparks of the planeswalkers from the Gatewatch, basically. But he needed maybe like a powerful spark, because the exact word he used was suitable. Now, he didn't say sufficient, which would more imply power level, but still, suitable. I mean, other than like your personality affecting your spark or whatever, I think that's about it. Well, I mean, a Sphinx? Sphinxes are awesome, okay? And they take a lot of mana to cast. Yes, I'm using that as evidence. So I would think that Azor, just due to his age and his power level and his mastery of white and blue magic, and he can cast, interplanar law magic. Hello. When Vraska learned an interplanar spell from Bolas, she was like, holy crap, I didn't even know that was possible. I believe exactly what she said was, holy crap, interplanar magic is powerful as balls. I might have misquoted that slightly. So we also know that Azor built the Immortal Sun and then was laying in wait on Ixalan to trap Bolas there, and his friend, who we don't know who it is, it's highly suspected to be Ugin, by the way, he failed to get Bolas into the proper location, which was going to let Azor actually use his interplanar magic to, like, grab Bolas and drag him to Ixalan, basically. And all we know is that for some reason it failed. So, I feel like if Ugin and Bolas had a fight, we would have heard about it, but I don't know. It's not like everything has to be chronological anyway. But I'm thinking that the whole reference to no matter, there were others if need be, is either the, fact that there's a ton of planeswalkers in the multiverse. I mean, what do we know of, like 30 at least, I'd say. I mean, 20 on the low end. I mean, there's like 6 of them in Kaladesh. I mean, come on. Oh, and then we've got, according to Mark Rosewater, token minority planeswalker number 1 from Amonkhet and number 2 from, Eldritch Moon. Oh, wait, no, she was white. Well, she was a woman, though, and a werewolf. Like, that's like 2 minorities. Yes, werewolf is mathematically a minority. Also, I don't know if you heard about this, guys, but mayonnaise is a gender. Funny that women are 51% of the population. That's interesting. So unless Azor's friend just got lost, just couldn't find his way to Bolas. I don't know, whatever. So let's jump over to a quote from the art book real quick. The Gift of Azor, also known as the Immortal Sun. So the most important part here is it says, the Immortal Sun, its purpose is to prevent planeswalkers from leaving Ixalan. Azor created the artifact by imbuing it with his own planeswalker spark, trapping himself as well as preventing other planeswalkers from carrying knowledge of this plane back out into the multiverse. Okay, Angrath landed here for some reason, so there's that. But other than that, we don't know of any other planeswalkers, and Huatli was born here. So Azor wanted the whole plane to be a secret so that word wouldn't get out to Nicol Bolas. Now, Nicol Bolas hired Vraska to not only go to Ixalan, and he knew where it was, but specifically he told her to steal the Immortal Sun. He knew the name Araska by name, and he had the thematic compass, which would lead her to it. So he was very familiar. Now, he's also really, really, really old and travels a lot, so maybe he knew about Ixalan ahead of time, but I mean, how recently did the Immortal Sun get there in Azor? I mean, it was, I think they said like 1,000 years, but still, that's fairly recent, I guess. So Azor's just been sitting there waiting to trap him, and also I guess he can't get his spark back out of the Immortal Sun because it said that his friend was the one who's going to, quote, help him do that. So I think it's safe to say at this point that his friend got caught, probably, by Bolas, maybe had his mind read or blew up the plan, double agent, whatever, who knows. I mean, it could have been Tezzeret. Well, okay, Tezzeret would have to be awfully old. But I think it could be Ugin because I don't remember how Ugin died before the little time-traveling jackass brought him back to life. But it could have been with a battle with Bolas because, as I've been told in the comment section, actually, in my videos, Nicol Bolas killed the rest of the Elder Dragons, and there weren't 3 of them, there were 5. And now there's, well, there was 1, Nicol Bolas, and now there's 2 because Ugin, some with time travel and Sarkhan and whatever. And I think maybe the timeline would be about right on that. Depends. I mean, Mark Rosewater did say that time passes differently between different planes, potentially. So let's ask the question, what's more likely, okay? The fact that Nicol Bolas basically clearly stated that he wondered if and not even for the first time, but he wondered again if the planeswalkers from the Gatewatch would be suitable for what he required. There were others if need be. And then he wanted the Immortal Sun, which contains Azor's spark. So what's more likely? He needs it because it contains Azor's spark and he needs a powerful planeswalker spark to do something, or he just wants to disarm the trap so that he doesn't inadvertently go to Ixalan and get trapped there or whatever. I mean, they both sound reasonable. It's just within the storyline and the way everything's pointing, I'd say number 1, but I have some final evidence. Well, let's look at a quote from the wiki because it's going to say this way better than I would. After the mending, the multiverse found a new balance with the Planeswalker's spark. So there's a reference to sparks and their changes once again. So it had far-reaching consequences. Planeswalkers lost their immortality and godlike powers and much of their additional magic powers. So that kind of suggests another little thing here. Does Nicol Bolas just need to cast a spell so powerful that he needs additional magic power that he used to have? Remember, whoever's touching the Immortal Sun gets massively increased power, just insanely increased. And it does make sense because, the mending, the spark, the additional magic power. Oh, look, he put his spark into this giant tablet called the Immortal Sun. And, oh, cool, now people who touch it get higher amounts of magical power. It all kind of flows, but there's one more piece of evidence. Okay, get ready for the most compressed, super quick MTG lore summary in the history of the universe. Dominaria is the nexus of all other planes, so nothing bad better happened to it, but way back in the day, they had a bunch of rifts, and every single rift was caused by pretty much a planeswalker, or a battle between planeswalkers like Nicol Bolas and a Demon Leviathan, for example. And it was threatening to kind of, destroy all of reality, basically. And the whole shard that sealed off 12 planes, not counting Chandelar, that was caused by the Silex Blast, which was, an artifact about on par with the Planeswalker's powers. So basically, a whole bunch of crap got ripped up in the fabric of, reality or the universe, multiverse, whatever. Actually, just the fabric of the plane, I guess you would say. And a whole bunch of planeswalkers in multiple storylines, just in general, some of them used their spark or gave up their life or whatever to seal them. Well, when the last of the major rifts was closed by Jeska, that caused the mending, or great mending, to occur, and it massively powered down planeswalkers. Nicol Bolas has stated pretty much word for word that he wants his power back. He wants to be as powerful as he was back in the day. Now, by back in the day, he means pre-mending, so he wants to undo the mending. Now, I don't think that necessarily going to Dominaria and causing a bunch of explosions or whatever, casting massive giant spells to rip apart the fabric of the plane again is a terribly good idea, because it could destroy the multiverse. But if you are going to do something with the fabric of a plane and maybe, some kind of rifts, if you want to mess around with that kind of stuff, you need Planeswalker Sparks. I mean, because the mending affected Sparks, Sparks affected the mending. The actual baseline, ability of a Planeswalker Spark is that at a basic level, if you're a Planeswalker, you can draw mana from other planes naturally. Most people don't know that. That's why, in Origins, we were casting, Yavimaya Coast, and you're like, wait a minute, Yavamaya's on Dominaria. That's the point. We're Planeswalkers, get it? And that's why we can use lands from every set. Actually, I think that's more of a practical thing. It's a bit of a side effect, actually, a fun little coincidence. And somehow just being able to travel between planes is a side effect of being able to grab mana from another plane. In fact, if something happens to your Spark, you cannot travel between planes, and also you cannot draw mana from other planes. That has been very, very commonly outlined in the stories. So you want to cast a big gigantic spell? You need a Spark. Well, Bolas already has one, but it'd be even better than 1, 2. Why does the Immortal Sun, which is built with Azor's Spark in it, why does it amplify the magical abilities? Because it can draw mana from multiple planes. I mean, spoiler alert. In fact, he's a Planeswalker, and he could use interplanar magic, law magic, because he had a Spark. The mana and the spell's effects can translate between planes. So does Bolas want it because A, it'll amplify his abilities? I'm going to give that a 5 out of 10 for plausibility because, it'll make his power more powerful. That's what it does. He'll basically have control of 2 Sparks instead of just 1. Or number 2 is, does he want it because he just wants to disarm the trap on Ixalan so that, Azor doesn't come up with another way to trap him there or something else, move it to a different plane, whatever. He just is like, holy crap, this is a trap that could legitimately trap me. I want this gone. So he's just going to steal it, and the second he gets it, he's just going to destroy it. I'm going to give that a 1 out of 10 for plausibility because no. So the third option is, does he need a Spark as a component for a spell? Because of, its energy, its abilities, its special properties, and its relation to the mending, which he very clearly wants to undo. I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10 for plausibility. I think that's it. So that is the grand unified theory of Bolas's plans, and all the evidence that we have so far. I feel like there was one thing that I missed, or maybe 2. So if you guys have any other details to either support this or completely contradict it, I'm not married to this, so send it down below in the comments section. I'd love to hear about it. And if you're just a reader and you want to just see what people post down there, scroll down. It's probably going to be really interesting because people a lot smarter than me, who know the lore a lot better than me, are going to be posting down below. So thanks for watching. Hopefully my theory is proven either true or false. I don't really care which. I mean, it's creative and it's interesting, but even I'll admit it's merely a theory. But hopefully we get an answer about it by the final chapter of Rivals. That would be excellent. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.